Clive James, the author, broadcaster, poet, commentator and critic, has been terminally ill for some time, but it hasn't stopped him writing or having political opinions. He's just written of his love of European culture. What would he make, then, of a post-Brexit Europe and the political maelstrom currently afflicting the United Kingdom?
When I was young and starting off and first came to Europe, brought here by the culture, I saw everything in the perspective of the chaos that the world had just lived through with World War II. And this thing that's happening now with Brexit, it's very serious, especially to the young, but it's a minor fracas compared with what the disaster in Europe and how that was overcome. And it was overcome. I think Britain will muddle through. I don't share the air of pessimism that's descended. Since my own opinions were firmly on both sides, I didn't even vote. And if I had, I've got a feeling I might have voted for exit, because the EU is a political organisation. It started off, it was meant to be a trading area. It was meant to make war impossible between France and Germany, which is still the aim, I think. And it grew bureaucratic. And I think it's generally perceived to be bureaucratic.
Did you see, in your article, you talk about the joy of the culture in Europe, the paintings, the music, the sculpture.
More than that, I talk about the inevitability of being in Europe. It's not something you can leave. You're in it. It's a mental event. You're in Europe whether you like it or not.
You're in Europe, but you don't mind not being of Europe.
No, I don't mind. In crude terms, I'm in favour of Polish plumbers, and I also want to retain the possibility that any Polish plumber who qualifies can turn himself into Joseph Conrad. So in that case, stay. On the other hand, I'm for a controlled border, and so in that case, go.
Now, of course, all this has happened against the background, indeed, of an Australian election. What do you make of Britain's posh politics? These Etonians, beating each other and verbally assassinating each other.
Yes, I don't mind if they verbally assassinate each other or assassinate each other any other way. But how many of them are up there now? There was Boris, of course, but Boris is sort of gone, isn't he? Is Theresa May? She didn't go to Eton, did she?
No.
I rather like Theresa May.
Is Australian politics better for not having an Eton there?
Well, some people think Malcolm Turnbull did go to Eton. They're wrong. But he behaves as if he had. In fact, sometimes he behaves as if he'd been in the Bullingdon Club. At the moment, Australian politics is in a real mess. Yeah, what you've got here is nothing besides what's going on in Australia.
Well, I think we would say we were competing pretty hard.
Oh, yes, I suppose so.
But you're an optimist because you're a man who's had to confront death over the past few years.
That's why I'm an optimist.
Well, because you're still alive.
Yes. Yes, it taught me a few things.
Now, were you an optimist to begin with, though?
Don't predict the future too confidently. I've always been optimistic about Europe since World War II, because World War II isn't happening. It damn near did. The price of a united Europe was a divided Germany, and that lasted a long time. And that was a real case of needing the right passport and the right visa, getting into the East. And I've seen that come and I've seen it go. And I hope, if this is a crisis, I hope to see it go.
In that far-off moment when you come towards the end of your days, would you want to end those days in Australia, your place of birth, or in Europe, your place of cultural love?
If I had to go back to Australia to die, I would still think on the day before I did, well, I'm still in Europe. Europe is a big thing. It's much, much bigger than the countries that constitute it. It's a spirit, a mental achievement, and it's something that everyone wants to join.
Thank you very much for talking to us.